You send her a message, she replies, yeah, maybe, okay, one word. Instantly, your mind jumps to the worst conclusion. She's losing interest. She doesn't like me anymore. It's over. But what if that one word reply means something completely different? What if in some situations she's actually interested, but her psychology is making her communicate in a way most men completely misunderstand? Today, we're uncovering 5 surprising female psychology reasons why a woman who likes you might suddenly start replying with one word, and the final reason is so common that it quietly ruins countless potential relationships. Let's get started. Text messages are strange. They're one of the easiest ways to communicate and one of the easiest ways to misunderstand each other. When you're talking face to face, you notice tone, eye contact, body language, smiles, pauses, but through a screen, one word can mean 10 different things. That's why many people accidentally judge someone's feelings based only on message length. In reality, psychology tells a different story. Communication isn't measured only by how much someone says. It's also shaped by emotion, personality, stress, confidence, and context. So before assuming the worst, let's explore 5 psychological reasons that often explain why a woman who genuinely likes you might suddenly become surprisingly brief over text. Reason number 1, she's overthinking every message. Imagine this. She sees your message immediately. She smiles, she wants to reply, then something happens. Her mind starts asking questions. What if this sounds boring? What if I seem too interested? What if I say the wrong thing? Instead of writing the long response she originally wanted, she deletes it, then deletes another. Eventually, she sends one simple word. Why? Because overthinking creates pressure. Psychologists often describe this as evaluation anxiety. The more someone values another person's opinion, the more carefully they evaluate their own behavior. Ironically, the people we care about often make us communicate less naturally. Think back to school. Giving a speech in front of strangers was stressful. Giving one in front of people you wanted to impress, even harder. The same emotional pressure can appear in texting. Her short reply isn't always emotional distance. Sometimes it's emotional caution. The message becomes shorter because her thoughts become louder. Reason number 2, she's waiting to see if you'll keep the conversation alive. Here's something many men overlook. Conversation is a shared responsibility. Sometimes a woman intentionally keeps her reply short, not to end the conversation, but to see whether you'll continue it. Think about it. If every discussion depends entirely on her asking questions, starting topics, keeping the energy alive, eventually she'll wonder, is he actually interested or am I doing all the work? So instead of carrying the conversation again, she gives you space. One word, a short answer, a pause. Now the next move is yours. Psychologically, this creates balance. Healthy communication isn't one person constantly entertaining the other. It's 2 people investing together. Imagine playing tennis. If one player always serves, soon the game feels one-sided. Sometimes she's simply waiting to see if you'll hit the ball back. Not because she's testing you, because she wants equal effort. That's a difference many men never notice. Reason number 3, she's emotionally comfortable with you. Now here's a surprising one. When people first meet, messages are often long, detailed, exciting. Everyone wants to make a great impression. But as emotional comfort grows, communication often becomes simpler. Think about your closest friends. Do you always send long paragraphs? Probably not. Sometimes one word says everything. Done, coming, exactly, nice. Why? Because comfort reduces the need to constantly impress. Psychologists refer to this as communication efficiency. The stronger the emotional familiarity, the fewer words are needed to understand each other. Here's a simple example. A woman who barely knows you might write, "That sounds really interesting. I hope you have an amazing time." Months later, she simply replies, "Enjoy shorter, but not colder." The emotional connection has simply become more relaxed. Of course, this only applies when her actions continue matching her interest, because actions always matter more than message length. We've covered 3 reasons already, but the next 2 explain why so many promising connections become confusing. One involves emotional protection. The other reveals a psychological pattern that quietly affects thousands of conversations every single day. Most men completely miss both. Let's continue. Reason number 4, she's protecting herself emotionally. Liking someone creates vulnerability, and vulnerability creates uncertainty. Maybe she's been disappointed before, maybe she's afraid of becoming emotionally invested too quickly, maybe she isn't sure how you truly feel. So instead of expressing everything openly, she becomes more careful. Short replies become emotional protection, not walls, shields. Imagine standing outside during light rain. You don't build a house, you simply open an umbrella. That's what emotional protection often looks like. She's still present, she's still replying, she's simply trying not to expose too much too soon. One-word messages can become a way of controlling emotional risk. If you're interested, the conversation continues. If you're not, she feels like she protected herself. This isn't manipulation, it's often fear mixed with hope, a combination many people experience when feelings become real. Reason number 5, she's paying more attention to your actions than your messages. This final reason is one almost nobody talks about. Many women don't judge attraction primarily through texting. They pay closer attention to consistency, effort, reliability, and real-life behavior. Imagine this. You text her constantly, long conversations, funny jokes, endless emojis, but every time there's an opportunity to meet, you hesitate or you cancel or you disappear. Eventually, words lose value. Now imagine the opposite. Your texts are simple, sometimes even brief, but you're dependable, you remember important dates, you keep your promises, you make time for her psychologically. Actions create trust faster than paragraphs. That's why some women stop investing heavily in texting. Not because they care less, because they're waiting to see real effort instead. One-word replies sometimes reflect this quiet shift. Her attention moves away from digital conversation toward real consistency. She's no longer asking, can he text? She's wondering, can I rely on him? And that's a much deeper psychological question. Now let's connect everything. She overthinks because your opinion matters. She gives short replies to create balanced conversation. She feels emotionally comfortable enough not to overperform. She protects herself from getting hurt, and she starts valuing actions more than endless messages. Notice something. None of these reasons automatically mean she's losing interest. They all point towards something much more important: context. That's why reading one message in isolation almost always leads to wrong conclusions. Instead, watch the bigger picture. Does she still reply? Does she remember details about your life? Does she make time for you? Does she seem happy when you meet? Does she continue investing outside of texting? Because relationships aren't built from individual messages. They're built from consistent patterns. One short reply doesn't define someone's feelings, just as one long paragraph doesn't guarantee genuine interest. Human emotions are far more complex than that. And the people who understand this usually communicate with far more confidence and patience. The next time she replies with only one word, pause before assuming the worst. Ask yourself a better question. What else is she doing? Because psychology isn't about isolated behaviors. It's about repeated patterns over time. If she's still present, still engaged, still making room for you in her life, then that short message may simply be one small piece of a much bigger emotional picture. Remember, the strongest connections aren't measured by the number of words exchanged. They're measured by trust, consistency, comfort, and genuine effort from both people. Sometimes, one meaningful action says more than 100 perfectly written texts ever could. If you enjoyed this video and want to understand female psychology on a deeper level, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss our next video. Now we'd love to hear from you. Have you ever received one-word replies that turned out to mean something completely different than you expected? Share your experience in the comments below. If this video gave you a new perspective, leave a like and share it with someone who might find it helpful. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.